Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are on the planet. So grateful that you're choosing to invest this time with me again. In case you missed it, my name is Tolu Areola, and honestly, it's a pleasure of mine and a passion of mine to help you succeed and thrive in life and in work. This is Empowerment Masterclass. I call it a growth community, where those people that want to break free from whatever is holding them back, so that they can step into a more fulfilling and more richer life. That's why I do this. My mission is to guide you as you discover your own power so that you can transform your own challenges to victories and so that you can ultimately thrive both in your personal life and in your work. So I'm super excited to walk this journey with you. Listen, thank you so much for being here. In fact that you are here and you set time aside to be here already tells me everything I need to know about you, right? It tells me that you're serious about growth. And look, I always say that growth always positions you for more opportunities. It's that simple. So we're going to do a deep dive today. And I always like to say that, look, 30 to 40 minutes is not enough time to do justice and do a deep dive on the topic that we have to treat today. So that's why I'm doing this masterclass style because we're going to actually take 3 sessions to cover what we're talking about today. But I want to give you two guarantees. That the first guarantee is that by the time we're done today, you will have enough to go and start working with right away. And then the second guarantee is that by the end, I'll give you an opportunity to take a deeper dive for those that really, really want tangible results and those people that just want to say, hey, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to dive in. Please help me. And we're going to do that. All right. So if everybody's ready, let me see you put, well, let me first of all say welcome again to everybody. Welcome. I see my friends from near and from far away that are logging in. But if you're ready to roll, if you're ready to do this, just let me know. Put in the chat. Just say yes. Say yes in the chat. Say yes in the chat if you're good to go. If you're good to go, everybody's good to go. Let me see. Let me see that in the chat. Let me see if I can grab that. Okay, yeah, I got Solomon saying red. Yeah, nice, nice, nice. All right, all right. Okay, I got a couple of yeses. I got a couple of yeses. I got a couple of yeses. They're ready to go. All right, I see the yes. All right, okay, great, great, great. All right, we're ready to roll. We're ready to roll. Well, um, again, thank you so much for being here. Today it's going to be interactive. Going to, I'm going to try as much as possible to make it engaging, but that's why we're doing masterclass style. All right. But today we're looking at a very unique topic. I'm calling it growth mastery, the shift from overthinking to peak performance. That is what we're talking about today. It's a very unique topic. It's a topic that, I've been asked to talk about for quite a while, and I decided I'm going to do it this season. So now, to get started, one of the keywords and the hook I want you to go away with today, and you shouldn't forget it. Even when we do the second session and the third session, here's the hook. All right. Your breakthrough is on the other side of your action. Your breakthrough is on the other side of your action. Don't ever forget that. You've got to hold that as a placeholder in your mind as we go through this topic. Your breakthrough is on the other side of your action. Now, let me start with something very real, very, very true that most of us can probably relate to. You know, some of the most gifted and talented people that I know on the planet, and on the planet, that they're gifted, but yet you're finding out that things are not working as they should. I've met some gifted and talented people that are stuck in life. But guess what? I found that they are stuck not because they are not talented, not because they're not gifted. They are stuck because they have way too many thoughts and not enough movement. Way too many thoughts and not enough movement. I mean, how many of us know somebody like that? You know someone who's just like an overthinker. I'm sure some of us, all right, we know quite a bit of people that are overthinkers. Why? Because it's what naturally comes when we're trying to get something done. But here's the kicker: overthinking really is not a thinking problem. No, overthinking is not a thinking problem. Overthinking is actually an action problem. It's not about you not having enough intelligence. No, it's about you not taking enough action. I call it, you know, a delayed progress. Overthinking is actually progress delayed, right? When we overthink, right, we're not moving. We're sitting down and crouching on the fact that I want to think it through first. And like I always say, like we often get caught in like different traps. And there are three main traps that catch overthinkers. All right. We're going to talk about these traps, right? Because these traps, they masquerade themselves as productivity, but they're not. They're actually things that keep us stuck, running our wheels like that hamster in the wheel. First of first of these traps, right, which you're familiar with, is analysis paralysis, right? How many people who know people who just analyze until they're paralyzed, right? Analysis paralysis convinces us that we need more data, we need more input before we can move. We need to know more before we can move. We need to know more before we can take the action. We're waiting for the perfect information that never comes. All right, that's analysis paralysis. Is one of the traps that that holds overthinkers. Another trap is, this issue of perfectionism. Right, right. It's that whisper in our ears that, well, it's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. It's gotta be perfect before I step out. It's gotta be perfect. Huh? Solomon says, I'm guilty right there. And say, I'm guilty right there. Ah, it's okay. That's why we're here today. I want to help you. I want to help you. Right? Perfectionism says, right? We set this impossible standards for ourselves, and it delays the launch of the project. It delays the launch of the idea, the launch of the business. Oh, and then the third trap or roadblock that masquerades as productivity. All right, there you go. The fear. All right, fear in disguise. The fear that hides behind this endless planning. Right, you keep planning and you keep planning. Right, we're getting ready to get ready. It's all fear based. Right, the endless planning sessions that never lead to execution. We use planning to avoid taking the real action. But listen, here's the hard truth. The hard truth is that overthinking itself is more like, I call it fear wearing a suit. That's what I call it, fear wearing a suit. Why? Because it feels like you're being productive, because you're planning and you're doing just the getting ready, but you're not really taking any action. Right? It's planning without movement. And here's the truth: when you feel like you're being productive and you're not moving, right? The truth of the matter is that you are just staying in the safe zone. And that's what overthinking does. You're staying in the safe zone because, yeah, it's easier for you just to mull it in your mind and keep finding that extra option and not having any kind of productivity. But here's the promise I want to give you today. And as we study these three sessions, again, I don't want to rush it. We're going to do a deep dive. We're going to make it as interactive as possible. But here's the deal. By the time we're done, right, you are going to have a complete concrete tool, a toolkit that you can use immediately to break free from overthinking. And you'll be able to step into this consistent, powerful action. Now, honestly, this is not theory because I used to be a victim. I'm teaching you something I've gone through. All right. You're going to have a practical roadmap, a framework of some sort where you can now transform the way you approach your goals so that you can get the result you're looking for. So by the time we're done, three things are going to happen. First thing that's going to happen is that we're going to define and get a clear definition of what growth mastery is, because that's where we're going to start, right? A clear definition of what growth mastery is. And then I'm going to share with you three critical mindset shifts you've got to have. So the first is you're going to know the definition of growth mastery, right? You have an understanding of the framework we're talking about. That framework helps you turn awareness into predictable results. And then we're going to talk about the three critical shifts, right? To move from this mental traffic that we all have, just thinking and overthinking and overthinking, to actually now getting momentum. You're going to learn the exact mindset transitions that you need to have that will actually help you unlock taking action when you need to. Okay. And then lastly, you're going to now have the practical framework, like a plan. I call it a 24-hour action plan where you can actually work on immediately. Right. You will basically walk away with those steps and you can continue to maintain the momentum so that it's not something you start and stop. Because you see, when we're talking about peak performance, right, it's not really a personality trait. It's all about practice. Practicing the habits that get you the result that you're looking for. Because listen, your next level never responds to intention. It only responds to execution. Right? You have to have a bias for action every single time. That's the key. Because the future does not belong to those people who are just thinkers. The future belongs and is open to those who move, who take action with purpose. That's what this is about. If you take action with purpose, you'll get the results that you're looking for. Now, quickly, by a show of hands in the chat, just by a show of hands in chat, right? Solomon has already, right, said he's guilty. How many else will say that, hey, I'm guilty, I'm guilty as an overthinker? You can put yes in the chat or raise your hand, right? Look, I put my hand up. I a recovering overthinker. So the point is this: there's nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. If at some point in your life, right, you overthought and overthought until the opportunities and the decisions you need to make kind of like just cooled off, or you even lost opportunities. Listen, you're in the right place and you are not alone. So what I want to do now is talk about the shifts. But before we do that, we've got to define what I mean by growth mastery. Because if you can get that, you will find out that everything else becomes a lock in for you. So when we're talking about what what is growth mastery? Growth mastery is not, oh, I'm busy all the time, or I read all the books that are readable, or I attended a masterclass or a webinar, right? That's not what growth mastery is. Growth mastery is defined as the disciplined ability to consistently turn your awareness into aligned action until your results become visible. That's it. Until your results become predictable. I'm missing one word there. That's the key, right? It's you taking this thing that you claim that you know, and then you are putting action into it. Because you see, that action is the missing gap with a lot of us. Most people have a lot of awareness. We all do. They know what they should do. They have read the books. They have listened to the podcasts. They have attended the master class like this. We all have. We all know that. But you see, your awareness without action is, I call it an expensive entertainment. That's all it is. Awareness without action is an expensive entertainment. It's you going after growth mastery that now bridges the gap between this stuff that you claim to know and the results that you want. Because here's the truth. It's not about knowing more. We're in an information age. You can get information everywhere. You just need to pick up your phone and say, hey Google or hey Siri, it will answer you. It's not about knowing more. In fact, we know way too much. It's about doing more with what you already know. Let that sink in for a moment. It's about doing more with what you already know. That's the key. That's the difference maker. That's the gap in a lot of us. It's that discipline to take your insights and your revelations and convert them into daily behaviors that will now compound into the extraordinary results that you're looking for. That's the key. You see, the moment I figured that out, I now had this bias for action. I will try it. I will do something that moves me in the direction of the results I'm looking for. That's what this is about. And if I had to give it to you in a simple formula, right? I will tell you what it is. Growth mastery is simply clarity plus courage plus consistency. Growth mastery is clarity plus courage plus consistency. All three have to be in place if you're going to master growth. So when we're talking about, clarity, right? That's the knowledge gap, right? I know what matters most right now. But then you have to add courage, which means that I move even before I feel ready, or I move even though I feel fear. Yeah. And then the consistency. I do it long enough for the results to show up. You see, a lot of us, if you don't have all three, a lot of us have the two. Maybe we have the clarity and the courage, but no consistency. You know why? We underestimate what we can do in the span of a 5-year period, and we just focus on 5 days. Consistency is the key. You do it long enough until the results show up, or you build a system that sustains the momentum that you're looking for. That's what it's all about. That's the difference maker. All three have to be in place if you are going to master growth. If you are going to walk in this whole zone where things are working for you. You see, because the real gap between where you are right now and where you want to be is rarely information. Oh, yeah, it's rarely information. It's all about action. It's all about implementation. That's it. That's the key. You know too much, but you're not taking enough actions. So when we're talking about overthinking, right? It sounds more like, if I take this action, what if I fail? Right? What if I fail? Or the one that used to hold me back a lot. What if it doesn't work out? Right? Oh, or this one. This one held me back quite a while. Right? What if they judge me? What if they judge me? Right? Part of some of the things that I do is to not just have a masterclass like this. Took me years before I started having this masterclass. This is going to be my ninth. I'm going to my 10th year of running this masterclass. But why didn't I start on time? What did they judge me? I sat on it for 5 years before I started doing this. Right? What did they judge me? Right? Some of us don't post videos of ourselves on social media because we're like, what if they judge me? Or I need one more strategy. I need one more strategy. Right? That happens to a lot of us. But all of that, right, is just overthinking. But if you're going to walk in growth mastery, it sounds more like, hey, listen, what's the next right step I have to take? Right? Who do I need to connect with? What can I do with what I have right now? How can I win today? That's that's how you tap into growth mastery. Because what you have to understand is this. That clarity, right? That's your compass. That's the thing that gets you where you're supposed to be going. The courage is the engine that will keep pushing you forward. Remember, you're courageous in spite of the fear. Yeah, the fear will always be there. Fear will not go away. But you have to push in anyways. And that consistency, it's that proof that, hey, listen, I'm on the right track. And you keep pushing and you keep pushing and you keep pushing. That's the key. So growth mastery is when you take all this learning that you know and you turn it into a lifestyle. You turn learning into living. That's it. That's the difference. Because I always tell people sometimes you don't need a new life, you just need a new level of execution. For some of us, the prayer points that we have been praying, right? All you need is to take action. That's the key. Just do the thing, the next thing that will move you in the direction that you want to go. So you don't need a new life, you just need new execution. Now, let's build on this a little bit because I think it will really, really help you. Because I want to show you a framework. And this framework is going to help you now begin to see how to shift from this overthinking, right, state into peak performance. And like I said earlier, there are three shifts that we're going to look at. We're not going to unpack everything today because again, I don't want to rush. I really, really want you to talk this through with me and then we'll begin to unpack it. But there are three shifts. I'll show you the shifts right now and we'll take one of them today. But we're going to address each one of these shifts so that you now begin to, remove the obstacles that have been standing in the way. Because each one of these shifts, they actually address the obstacle that has been keeping a lot of even high achievers stuck in their heads instead of them moving forward towards their goals. And if you can master these shifts, I'm telling you, you will find that momentum will be your new normal. You are just going to be moving ahead. Here are the shifts, pretty simple shifts. The first shift is moving from this state of mental noise into what I call, clarity of focus. Shift number two is shifting from perfectionism into progress action. We're going to discuss that in detail. And then the last one is this shift, right? That you are just going from momentum into systems and accountability. We're going to unpack each one of them. But because once you get this, I'm telling you, you've gotten the majority of things that hold people back. Once you can shift, but we're going to look at the first shift. The first shift is shifting from mental noise to clarity of focus. In other words, reducing this. You see, when you overthink, you're giving yourself way too much options, right? So we're talking about reducing options so that you can now raise execution. You agree with me that we currently, right now, right, we live in a world of infinite possibilities. And the moment you have so many possibilities, you're going to have distractions. And especially in our world today, the ability to focus, I'm telling you, that's your competitive advantage. If you don't know it, I'm telling you right now, to stay laser focused on an idea, on a thought, on a project, on a business, it's an advantage. I don't know if you ever heard about this thing called the paradox of choice, right? If you went into a store right now and you see the kind of flavor of the number of jams that they have or M&Ms and stuff, right? So there's this guy that came up with this idea, around the paradox of choice. And his point was that, listen, when you have so many options, it's counterproductive, right? It can actually lead to anxiety and decision fatigue when you have way too many options. And that's what happens when you overthink. You are giving your mind so many neural pathways to be tracking stuff. It's like you're chasing two rabbits or three rabbits or four rabbits. You won't catch any. So the key is to shift from this always having so many options to staying laser focused, because most people fail in life because of broken focus. So the paradox of choice, it doesn't just apply to the M&Ms or the jam in the grocery store. It also applies to your goals. It also applies to your projects. It also applies to your daily actions and your ability to cut through all of the noise, to cut through all of the distractions, to cut through all of the things that stand in the way and identify what really, really moves the needle. That's the key. Because think about it. One of the excuses I hear from people that overthink, again, I used to be there, is that, well, everything is important. I have so many things to do and they're all important. But listen, when everything feels important, nothing gets the focused attention. I mean, you will agree with that, right? When everything is important, then nothing gets a focused attention because everything is important. Your energy becomes diluted around so many things. And what happens to progress? Of course, it's going to get stalled. Why? Because you're everywhere. You're pushing things everywhere. So, overthinking comes because we have too many open loops. We have too many goals. We have too many priorities, all right? We have too many tabs opened on our mind. But listen, what you need is clarity. What you need is focus. And you see, even that clarity is a weapon. So let me give you a simple tool. This really, really helped me because part of my challenge was that I was saying yes to a whole lot of things. How many people are like that, right? You want to please everybody, you want to say yes to everything. Why? Because everything is an opportunity. You want to say yes to everything. But I developed a tool. I call it the 3D filter. Before I say yes to anything, I filter them through these three lenses. And if the answer doesn't match, I won't say yes. If it does, then I say yes. Right? The first question I ask is, does it move the needle? In other words, not everything that looks important is important. This question forces you to pause and think that, hey, will this thing eventually create the meaningful progress that I want? Or is it just activity? Remember, I've told you time and time again, activity does not equal productivity. A lot of us are doing a lot of activities, but it's not actually leading to productivity. So this question is basically saying that, does this move the needle for you? Does this move the needle for me? All right? Or is it just activity? If it doesn't move the needle for you, it's a distraction. No matter how exciting it looks, you don't fall for it. Next, I ask the question, does it match my season? You see, every season has its own priorities. Every season has its own priorities. What fits you in a season of growth may not fit you in a season of recovery. Right? Look, listen, I turned 50 last year and I'm in a whole new season being in this half a century decade. The things that matter to me now, right? They matter to me in my 20s and in my 30s. So you have to always ask that question. Does it match my season? Right? This is in my 20s. I was joking with somebody earlier. In my 20s, man, I could eat anything. Why? It fit in my season. This season, no, I can't. It doesn't fit in my season, no matter how good it looks. And you have to be mindful of that because good things in the wrong season can become heavy burdens to carry. Oh, yes. I mean, you know people that maybe have lost their lives because they were doing good things in the wrong season, whether it has to do with their health or or even the job that they're taking, right? One of the things that I'm telling my young adult kids now is that, listen, when I look back at my life now, all right, at 50, is that one of the difference between me and my peers that I realize now is that when I was your age, I took big risks. Oh, when I was your age, I stepped out of the box and I was shooting for the moon. Now, at the time, because I was a rookie, I didn't know what I didn't know. So I was just pushing the envelope as best as I could. But in hindsight now, those are the things that let me get a good head start. So I'm telling them right now, in your season, like, don't play small, don't play safe, right? Because in your season as a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old, a 30-year-old, right, you can take big risks. Even if you fail, you have time to recover. Versus somebody who wants to take this same kind of risks in their 60s and 70s and 80s, right? They can't afford it. Why? It doesn't fit in their season. So you have to ask, is this right for where I am right now? Because this question is what grinds you and grounds you in reality. It gives you a reality check. And then the third filter is, does it support my top outcome? Right? I mean, remember, we all have goals, but there is a key goal, right? A primary goal. I call it your North Star, right? This this question creates an alignment in your mind that, does this help me get where I want to go eventually? Does it help me get where I have already decided that I want to go? If the answer is no on any of these three questions, I'm telling you, it doesn't belong on your plate. It doesn't. If it doesn't pass the filter test, the answer is no. Now, maybe not no forever, but it's a no right now. It's a no right now. Because listen, most of the overwhelm that we have in our lives, right? They all come from us saying yes without a filter. We say yes to everything. Somebody comes to the business idea, you say yes. Oh, they say, oh, it's trading IPOs down, you go there. Oh, someone say, oh no, it's doing a uh there was someone told me oh, Amazon delivery. It's this, and you're saying yes to a whole lot of things. And then you're overwhelmed and you don't get any results because we don't have a filter to the things that we're doing. So, what this 3D filter helps you do, it gives you permission to choose with clarity, not with guilt. When you use it consistently, you will find out that your decisions become clearer. Your priorities will be sharper. I'm telling you. And you'll find out that your results will be bigger. Because when we're talking about overthinking, overthinking multiplies the options that you have. That's what it does. You're thinking of so many options. But clarity multiplies your results. And what it does, it destroys any kind of confusion that you have. So if you don't choose your focus, all right, your feelings will choose it for you. That's it. And you know that your feelings often lie to you. That's right. Your feelings often lie to you because think about it. When you have so many options, right, you are not committed to one or two things. It's not possible for you to be committed to so many things at the same time. And you can't be consistent with what you are not committed to. That's the key. That's the key. I mean, think about it. I don't know if you are like me, but anywhere I go, right? For those of you who know where I'm at, I live here in the great state of Texas. And it's a very, very, very chaotic in driving. The average place you want to go that is just down the street here in the Houston area, it will probably take you about 40, 45 minutes. So I like to use my GPS wherever I'm going to. Like if it's 5 miles or is it 50 miles, I always put stuff in my GPS. It's my mantra. I do that naturally. Now, imagine trying to drive to a destination with five GPS apps, right? Five GPS apps giving totally different routes, right? One is Google Maps, and then you use Apple Maps, and then you use Waze, and then you use, I don't know, MapQuest or whatever it is, right? Yep. What happens? You won't move fast. You probably won't get where you're going. You'll freeze. And guess what? Some of you don't need another strategy. You just need one direction. You just need one direction. And the question you need to keep asking yourself on a daily basis is what matters most right now? What matters most right now? I mean, if you can answer that question, you will find that there's a whole lot you can accomplish. A whole lot. All right. Because I want us to make a discussion, let me give you some application points because if you can get this application point, you know exactly the step to take. All right. And then I'll kind of open it up because the application is to help you turn your focus into action. Because knowing what you need to focus on is one thing. Ugh. Building into your daily routine, right? That's something that's totally different, which is where the gap is. So I'm going to give you three action steps that will help you move from you having this scattered energy, scattered brain, for you to be laser focused. And I'm telling you, they sound very simple, but they have been extremely pivotal for me. The first is that you pick one measurable target for the next 30 days, right? Not seven, one. One measurable outcome you are trying to accomplish. Remember, we're trying to build this within you. Choose a single 30-day goal that matters more than anything else. I don't know for you, lose 30 pounds, lose 10 pounds, lose 5 pounds, start the business, read the book. I don't know what it is for you, but just one. And then you write it down. You make it specific, you make it measurable, and you make everything else secondary. Actually, let me ask everybody right now, if I had to sit with you 30 days from today, 6 months from today, 1 year from today, tell me what's the one thing, just one thing you would love, and if you can, use use one word to describe it. What's the one thing that you would love to have happened in your life? If I sit with you 30 days from today, 60 days from today, 12 months from today, just type in the chat if you can. It could be a phrase, it could be one word. What's the one thing you would love to have happened in your life? It's something that you're not doing right now. It's something that is not happening right now, but you would love for it to happen. Put it in the chat. Trust me, there's no judgment here. It's all about helping you. What's one thing you would love to happen in your life? Okay. Solomon says, complete and publish in a top journal. I love that. What else? Anybody else? What's one thing you would love to have happen in your life? If I sat with you 30 days or 60 days or 12 months for today, let me have one more person chime in. All right. Okay. I like that. Okay. Get a full-time job. I see that. Yeah. Clear business direction. I love it. I love it. All of that is possible. So the challenge I'm asking you to take now is stay laser focused on that. For the next 30 days, we're going to make that our focus. We're not going to do anything else but that. That's the first step. All right. Everything else don't matter. You're going to stay laser focused on it. The next step, you're now going to identify one thing daily. All right. Every morning, you're asking, if I do only one thing today that will make me move toward that goal, one thing that will make me win today towards that one goal that I've identified. What's one thing I can do today that will make everything else easier towards that goal? I'm telling you, you will be amazed because now your thought going from all of these other options, your thoughts will now stay laser focused on the action you need to take toward that goal. So if we use Solomon's example, for example, right, where he says, I want to publish on the top journal, and he makes that his laser focus for the next 30 days. And then he asks, every morning he wakes up, what's the one thing I can do today that will move me towards publishing, you know, publishing on the top journal? You'll find out it'll make a difference. Miss Kara says, please, can you kindly repeat the previous point? Lost connection due to weather. All right. So the first point is on the screen. Pick one measurable target. The second point is identify your one thing that you need to do daily that will move you towards that target. Remember, we're talking about defeating this overthinking problem because you're thinking of so many options. Now I'm asking you, think of the one thing you need to do every morning. See, the moment you think about that one thing, it takes your mind off of all the other unnecessary things and you're locked in. And then, number three, I love this list. All right. You create a not now list. You see, we are all very used to do lists, and our to do lists are so long. I used to be that guy. I used to have to do lists that were like 30, 40 points long. I'm asking you to now do the opposite. I'm asking you to list and write down the distractions. Now, I'm not asking you to forget them. I'm asking you to dump them from your mind onto paper. All right? I'm asking you to take all the things that will have been distractions, put them on paper so that you can revisit them later. Because what happens is that your brain relaxes when it knows that it's not going to lose the idea or it's not going to lose the thing it needs to do. So you write down those ideas, right? Right now, they don't deserve as being your current target. So what we're doing is we're capturing them so that they don't hijack your focus. That's the point. Because what has been hijacking your focus are all the other ideas that are coming through. And now this is how you take them off. Remember, too many destinations equal no movement, right? Direction without selection is just a distraction on a map. That's what I like to say. In other words, if you don't choose your focus, I said it earlier, your feelings will choose your focus. You're just going to be doing things as you feel like it. With the moment you hit a roadblock, all right, you're tired or you feel lazy, you are going to move to something else. So, if I had to add an additional micro challenge for you, I'm telling you, decide that one thing before today ends, right? Write your one target. You can write in a statement. Today, I am committed to losing 20 pounds by the end of March 2026. You see, the moment you pick that target itself, it defines everything else for you. Listen, that's the framework. That's the framework to help you on the first shift. Remember, we're talking about three shifts. So this first shift is going to help you move from this mental, you know, collage that you have to keep you laser focused. And I'm telling you, the moment you can do that, it makes everything else crystal for you. So let me ask you, with the time remaining, I want to make it a sort of Q&A. So in the chat, or if you want to come up live to talk about it, tell me what has been your biggest challenge with overthinking. And if you can, share what the effects have been that you have noticed. What has been your biggest challenge with overthinking? And what has been the effect? You can raise your hand and bring it in, we talk about it, or you can put it in the chat and we'll discuss it. I want to use the last 10 minutes to, to actually go a little bit deeper as it relates to you. What has been your challenge with overthinking and what has been the effect? The fear of failing. I like that. Thanks, K Cares. The fear of failing. What has that what has that produced? What has been the effect of that? If you can elaborate on that, please. What has been the effect of the fear of failing? And I'll tell you something a little bit about fear. I'm actually writing a book on fear right now. It's called From Fear to Fuel. I'm hoping that it drops this year. The fear of failing. I said the effect is I don't want to take the step. Exactly, right? Because you are feeling fearful, right? What happens? You stop and you not take the step. But what I've shared today, okay, is one of those things that will help you. And here's how it's going to help you. You've identified what you want to do, all right? And you have taken away all the other options and you want to stay laser focused and you now decide this is the step I have to take. Now, your job is to now take that step. Now, you now say, well, Coach T, I'm telling you that fear is in the way. Now, here's my challenge to you. You need to interpret fear differently. You see, the moment you feel fear, your default reaction to fear is to stop and not do it. Your default reaction to fear is to turn back and not do it. Why? That's what fear is designed to do. Fear is designed to stop you. Fear is designed to limit you. Fear is designed to make you go back. So, what I'm challenging you to do today is this. Whenever fear shows up, whenever you feel fear and you want to fall into that default to stop, to turn back, or to flee, I'm challenging you to pause and rethink. Interpret the fear as a signboard that you are meant to be here. Interpret the fear as the green light that you're supposed to be doing this. Remember, it wants you to stop and wants you to turn back. And the moment you stop and you turn back, that thing you want to do never gets done. So I'm challenging you now. Whenever fear shows up, interpret differently. Say, oh my God, this is the billboard saying that I'm in the right place. Oh my God, this is the green light that says I'm supposed to push ahead. And you do exactly that. Push ahead in spite of the fear that you feel. And what happens is that you will find out that, oh my God, This thing wasn't even as bad as I thought in the first place. When you do the thing that you fear, the death of fear is certain. That's why when I gave you the growth mastery framework, I said it's clarity, courage, and then consistency. Courage loses its definition without fear. Fear is what gives courage its definition. So everyone that's ever been courageous on the planet, they did it in the presence of fear. So quit letting fear stop you. There's so many things you should be accomplishing. There's so many things you should be doing. I'm a person of faith. You know that. I'm a pastor also by discipline. One of the things that we keep saying is that God has not given you the spirit of fear. In other words, you are not designed to be controlled by fear. You're supposed to be controlled by love. You're supposed to control by a sound mind. But many of us, we let fear control us. We turn back. Next session, I'm going to show you a video. I shared this video. I have my wife's permission to share it. Like, we've been married, it was going 24 years. And for almost like probably the first decade, 15 years of our marriage, anytime we go on vacations, like I literally just had all the fun myself with the kids. I love to swim. I love to be on the water. I love to kayak. And she never wanted to get on the water because of her fear of drowning. And this one day, I think we were in Cozumel or somewhere like that. And I told her, I did all the pep talks. I said, today you are going to kayak. She's like, "Shh, you don't know what you're talking about." I did all the big talk. I brought out the big guns. I said, babe, we've been married for it's going on 2 decades. Listen, I want to enjoy kayaking with you. You are going to have to face this fear. I'm going to be there with you the whole time. I promise. There's no way I will let you drown. And true to form, my wife decided to confront her fear that day. I'll show you the video. She gets on the kayak and I paddled into the middle of the ocean. And I'm telling you, I almost had tears in my eyes when she got out the video and she was videoing herself. She was like, oh my God, I cannot believe I'm kayaking. I'm on the ocean. And that was the day she broke the power of that fear. Now, anytime we go on vacation, guess who's kayaking? Like she owns the ocean. But up to that point, fear had controlled her. So I'm saying to you, listen, don't let fear control you. Fear, as they say, is false evidence appearing real. It's one of the biggest roadblocks that have held a lot of people back. I hope that's helped you. And I hope that from today, you're not going to let fear stop you. All right? Because those dreams, the visions, the goals that are in your heart, they're meant to help somebody. And every time you let fear stop you, it never gets done. What I'm doing today, like I told you, is going to 10 years. Fear held me for 5 years because of the fear of being judged. But today, guess what? All right? It's actually a business for me now. I coach organizations, I coach individuals, and honestly, that's even one of my offers for you. If you need help, you need a hand holding through this process, let's talk about it. Come on, book a call. I'll help you. I'll show you what happened to me and help you get off your hiney as well so that you can also win. So if you like that, hey, book a call. It's totally free. Totally free. Book a call. Let's talk about it and I'll help you. All right. I hope that has been helpful for you. I'll take one or two questions if you have them. If not, I want to challenge you to stay tuned and come for the next session. Again, we just talked about one of the three shifts that we have to to break this hold of overthinking. I talk to way too many people that have been paralyzed with overthinking. And then if you're one of those that have, the natural personality of perfectionist, man, yours is even to the nth degree, like 10x. But I'm telling you, you can break it because I did. And when I did, the results showed. So again, if this has been helpful for you, can you let me know in the chat if it's been helpful? Just put a yes in the chat. Let me know it's been helpful. Let me know if it's been helpful. And if you like to book a call again, the link is on the screen. Actually, let me put it in the chat as well so that you can kick it. All right. Thank you, Moses. Thank you, Aurea. Super helpful. Super helpful. Yeah, I love that. I love that. All right. I'm looking forward to hearing the amazing stories that you're going to have by putting this. Again, we're going to pick it up next session. All right. We're going to pick it up next session. We're going to talk about the second we're going to talk about the second shift, which is moving from perfectionism to progress action. Right? I took this pretty deep because this is where it starts from. So I'm looking forward to hearing your amazing stories when next we meet. But stay tuned. I'm going to send out, if you register, you're going to get a replay of this. And I think I'll go ahead and also put my notes in there so that you can sit down and think of it. But again, listen, this year is your year. This year is the year where those dreams must come to pass. But you see, they never come to pass. No matter how anointed you are, if you do nothing, all right, nothing happens. The key is doing. So I look forward to seeing everybody next time. Let's see here. Did I lose everybody? Nope. My screen just froze. Look at that. Let me pull this out. But here's the key. Get yourself going, get yourself moving. And until I see you next time, listen, let's keep living the empowered life because that's the only life to live. Yes, Abel, you will get the replay tomorrow, the latest. My VA is on and she will send out the replay. You will get the replay, and I'll work on getting the notes to you as well. Good question. All right, any other questions before I let you all go? Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming out. I look forward to seeing you all next time. God bless you. And you have a lovely, lovely rest of the day. Bye for now.